Welcome to Octane 2025. I am Mandy Logan, happy to be here with Dor Fledel from Okta, and we are at Octane in this fantastic expo area. But goodness, the happy hour just got a little lively.
Yeah. I love it. We all have a good excuse to be here.
Oh, that's excellent. Okay, so starting with this, since this is the first conversation I'm getting to have at Octane.
Okay.
And because of your role, which please go ahead and share what your role is.
I'm a senior director of product management, managing the PAM and ISPM products in Okta.
Okay, so with me right now, zero in please. What is one thing that you are most excited about for the customer here?
I think that the one thing I think everyone can talk about AI, so I won't repeat the cliche. I'm actually really excited about how Okta is now really expanding the footprint of support and servicing not only cloud-only companies or cloud-really heavy companies, but also servicing big enterprises or customers that have a lot of legacy environments and really catering not to where the future is, but also where our past was, and really acknowledging that.
Oh, yes. I have to say that I like going back to like critical infrastructure and to baseline operations because we have all these fantastic tools and advances and ideas that are coming forward, and yet we are not at the point that those are all adopted. There is no reason to forget that there's a lot of substantive use in what already exists.
Yeah, and I think that the one thing that I'm really proud of that we're actually as Okta doing. So I joined Okta from a startup that was acquired into Okta.
Yes.
I founded it, I was the CEO, and for us, Okta was the number one pick. And I think a big part of it is how Okta is very uniquely shaping identity in the cybersecurity community.
Correct.
And what I really like about Okta's current approach to a lot of things, we can talk about AI, hybrid environments, a lot of them. It's a two-pronged approach of let's shape the future better together on all the new stuff you have, but also the other prong, which is meeting customers where they are and acknowledging the horses that are out of the barn already.
Correct.
And giving good tools to handle them and advance them to the future as streamlined, easy, secure as possible.
Well, and to me, that's a tenet of all good educational structure is you need to go to where the individual is already.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There is no reason to stay over here and go, oh, too bad you're over there.
Yeah.
That doesn't help anybody or anything. And I've got to say, from my experience around Okta, even within the intercompany focus on training and progress, it is such a refreshing and seems like a very stable concept that runs through all that Okta does, whether it's for your own company functioning or for what is coming.
Yeah.
So I am curious, since we are going to kind of start edging into AI
Of course,
bit,
we have to. We spent 5 minutes not on AI, now we can go back to AI.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You had your break.
Yeah.
Now we're back to it. First, can we go into actually about the identity sprawl paradox? Okay. Now, for you, what does that mean? What does that conjure for your customer when you think of that?
Yeah, for us, so identity sprawl is big. Customers have a lot of more identities than you can even imagine.
Right.
And many of the customers I'm meeting, specifically in ISPM, specifically in PAM, we call it the identity jungle. Like if you're not part of a 10 people startup that can fit 2 pizzas, you have a lot of identity debt. And part of the underlying reason for that is that identity wasn't treated as the number one attack vector until very recently. And then the paradox, in my opinion, is really about actually the slogan of Okta to securely allow people to adopt technology. On one hand, you want, and same goes with AI agents. I think this is like as material as the cloud wave that really changed everything we're doing. and you as a security team, what security teams are telling me, they want to really accelerate the business as much as they can, but in the same time do it securely. And I think that's a big part of the identity paradox, that you many times want to allow people, and that comes with built-in risk. And how do you actually allow them to do it with the security team, with the right tools, and we call it swim lanes, for the business to succeed.
Excellent. And that brings to mind to me, kind of going back to ephemeral cloud security.
Yeah.
Now, that is not in the same level of infancy that AI security and adoption are, right?
Yeah.
So on a technical side, and for people in the SOC or people who are integrating Okta, if you could take any experience you've seen from actually securing the ephemeral cloud and applying it to what is something that's useful, or what is Okta providing to technical practitioners that pulls them from the cloud storage to AI?
Yeah, for sure. I think that the main thing that I'm seeing is Okta helping customers get on the maturity curve.
Okay.
Seeing Okta, one of the CISOs I like the most told me, a pretty blunt, I'm Israeli, so I operate well with blunt statements. He told me, I don't care about the tool. I care about the business process I have and how can I accelerate it. And sometimes our tools are helpful to accelerate those. So really, as you're thinking as a customer on a 5-year journey, where are you today? Where can you be in 5 years? And how can you make sure that you're getting something that maybe you could have had in 10 years within 3 to 4 years?
Oh, yes.
I think that's what resonating with a lot of customers with very low, let's say, with very high probability of actually hitting it. Now, when we're talking about ephemeral access, I think it's a problem that really challenged a lot of customers, moving from very static on-prem to ephemeral in the cloud. And then what really resonates with customers I'm meeting is the maturity model. So you're starting, 95% of the customers I'm talking to say that ephemeral cloud, they have the least maturity in their environment. So it all starts with understanding what you have and prioritizing and being strategic. How is it within the subject, and how is it in comparison to other initiatives you have? And then moving from understanding to vaulting or handling and then remediating. And the last piece is streamlined operations to make the one-off remediations into an ongoing business process. Is really how I saw ephemeral cloud get to a win in customers.
That makes complete sense. I mean, to me, thinking about, I think the majority of success comes down to processes, not thoughts, not this. It's literally you need to have the process in place, and then it frees up what you didn't even realize was going to be freed up. So is there a particular portion of what you get to do at Okta that you see bring your customers' process further into line with a great future posture?
Yeah, so I would love to talk about, about how we help discover and remediate in AI specifically.
Ooh, okay.
So there is a lot that's coming tomorrow, the upcoming days. Can't steal the thunder for my boss. But I think there is a lot to, in the process of, in the past, what customers used to do, and that compounds with AI, is discover a problem in the non-human identity space. Mm-hmm. It took them months and even years to discover that a problem exists, and then realizing how to solve it, and then solving it took sometimes as long as the discovery itself, just because the business process was complicated. What I'm personally excited to your question is that today, for non-human identities and AI agents, we can auto-detect rogue identities. For example, an AI agent that was just spun up, or a non-human an access key that was just unused in the day of, so almost real time, and then automatically, according to policies that customers configure, actually remediate either through vaulting or through decommission. Mm-hmm. And customers are telling us that, first of all, knowing it as soon as it happens is material for them because the business doesn't get used to it. And the second thing is that when things are automated, there is less personal friction and less, let's call it decision making in the process that people do allow machines to do in a very human way.
It does now, and I think of that as almost like a cleaner form of data,
Yeah,
right? It's
fully agree.
which I personally, in my journey with AI, I thoroughly enjoy. Like, I actually really get a lot of calming satisfaction from being able to interact with my bots or my LLMs and get the clean data
Yeah.
free from the human component so that I can take that data and masterfully adjust it to help the humans better.
I couldn't agree more. I'll tell you a story.
Yes.
We're very often in ISPM, we're helping security teams, and part of the underlying business problem is that identity is split. In the responsibility for identity is split between the identity provider admin, Okta, Microsoft, and even like the Salesforce admin, the AWS admin. They have some identity responsibility because of the admins they have, because of the processes they're controlling. One of the sentences I like the most from the customer is that actually what the tools that Okta now has bring them is a clean set of data to make data-driven decisions.
Yes.
And then it's not a, I think you think kind of a discussion. It's like, this is the key indicator we want to track. This is where today at 20, we need to get to 50.
Okay.
Let's align on a plan, let's align on the how and not on the what. And I think the data, especially now with AI and the proximity of data, is really helping that.
Ooh, now this brings to mind something about, have you seen a recent quick adjustment in any of those items we view as, oh, that's really not quantifiable, and yet you're seeing, oh no, we are starting to quantify this portion?
Yeah. I've seen, I think the most interesting one that I've seen is AI agent list privilege.
Okay.
So list privilege in general, how much access does Mandy need is a question that's very hard in the enterprise
Well, if
to
you
answer.
ask me, I need it all.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. You, like 99.9% of human beings, are control freaks, and same as I, and just want to have the power to do everything and to be accelerated. So list privilege is really not quantifiable. People are talking about an entitlement, but not like how much Mandy has. Is she, from a scale of 1 to 100, what's her overdraft? Is she 50%, 120? Where are we doing? So quantifying that, and I think that now with agents, where it's a kind of like a black box, we want to empower them, but on the flip side, we want to control them.
Oh, yeah.
That discussion just accelerates.
Oh my goodness, yes. And to me, that is something, I'm not going to say that it keeps me up at night, right? Because that's not quite where we're at. But even as a mental structure kind of play-by-play, thinking about how the depth that is required to try to guess, what do these agents actually do? What do we actually need to try to do whenever there is so much depth of progress happening that is ahead of what can be assumed?
Yeah. I one of the things that really comes up when you're saying it is that customers many times, I've spoken with this morning with a clothes manufacturer that people know. And what they told me is we can't be locked.
Okay.
Like, our employees need to work, but we need to have the right level of risk associated with it. We need to have not too low, not too high, the right level of risk for the business to succeed. And I think that especially today, we're seeing how agents are stretching the limits of right risks.
Okay.
And customers mostly tell us, I want you as a tool and data plane to tell us that we're taking the right amount of risk in comparison to our industry, in comparison to best practices, in comparison to our peer groups, and help us shape the right amount of the right discussion, many times with actually the board of like, we're in the right spot in cybersecurity or we're not, and let's get there.
So I'm curious, what is something that you have seen with teams switching from standing access to just-in-time access? Is there any observable data that you've seen in your customers doing so?
Yeah, I think the most interesting thing that I've seen is that standing accounts is easier for the end user. Why? Again, to your
Right.
point, you just want access to everything. I think what really was maybe trivial to some, but not for me, was how the fact that the end users, the developers, the system admins, when they can trust that when they would need you, the access, it would be there. It's like a good friend. Like if they earned your trust of being there at the right moments, you would trust them and give more like leash to
Right.
them. So what we especially found is that when customers actually make the just-in-time accessible to the end users, they can do like a carrot and a stick and take the standing access, which is a material business risk. And we're seeing the news almost every day about how a service account that was just dormant for 5 years got
Right.
a company down.
Right. Okay. Right. Well, Dor, thank you so very much for this. Thank you for kicking off our Octane. And very quickly, is there one last thing you would like the customer or the people watching to really zero in on?
I think the most important thing that I'm seeing with our most successful customers is customers who view their priorities as a journey and see
Okay.
where can they be in 5 years. Obviously, everyone wants quick wins, but what's the best path to get there? Is what I've seen the most successful, and I admire. Those are, in my opinion, the top-notch security leaders of tomorrow. And the more we can help customers get there and be their trusted partner in the process, I think, and not only Okta, every vendor out there, that would just benefit everyone.
Excellent. Thank you so very much, Dor. Thank you for joining us, and please visit securityweekly.com/octane. Thanks again for this conversation, and for those viewing, please stick around. We will be right back after the following break.